Hi students, in our last video we saw up to Einstein's childhood and we enter into his education. Einstein was highly gifted in mathematics and was interested in physics. And after finishing school, he decided to study at a university in Zurich. But science wasn't the only thing that appealed to the dashing young man with a walrus mustache. Walrus mustache, in the sense, the way he has his mustache, this is called walrus mustache. He also felt a special interest in a fellow student, Meliva Merrick, whom he found to be a clever creature. So Einstein also felt Meliva was very clever while studying together. This young Serb means Serbian, had come to Switzerland because the university in Zurich was one of the few in Europe where women could get degrees. So Meliva joined there in order to get her degree. Einstein saw in her an ally against the Philistines. Philistines means lacking in appreciation for art and culture. A word used, this word is used to disapprove, to talk about people who do not like art, literature, or music. So Einstein also came across such a personality. Those people in his family and at the university with whom he was constantly at odds. He used to join her constantly in kind of a strange talk and so on, kind of betting situation, odds. The couple fell in love. Later, the couple fell in love. Einstein and Meliva fell in love. Letters survive in which they put their affection into words. So they wrote letters to each other, mixing science with tenderness. They also shared their thoughts on science along with their affection for each other. Einstein wrote, "How happy and proud I shall be when we both have brought our work on relativity to a victorious conclusion." So he wrote this as he wrote his letter to her. Both of them joined together, studied together, and brought out the work on relativity. In 1900, at the age of 21, Albert Einstein was a university graduate and unemployed. He worked as a teaching assistant, gave private lessons, and finally secured a job in 1902 as a technical expert in the patent office. Patent office is where a document which gives the rights of invention to an inventor. Okay, that is the office where they approve the invention. Patent office in Bern. While he was supposed to be assessing other people's inventions, Einstein was actually developing his own ideas in secret. He was working in patent office as well as he tried to do his own invention. He is said to have jokingly called his desk drawer at work, the Bureau of Theoretical Physics. This Bureau of Theoretical Physics is actually a room. His drawer was like a room or office for him, which held a lot of theoretical physics. One of the famous papers of 1905 was Einstein's special theory of relativity. This was the famous one, according to which time and distance are not absolute, not the not perfect. Indeed, two perfectly accurate clocks will not continue to show the same time. You may have studied it in physics. If they come together again after a journey, if one of them has been moving very fast relative to the other, from this followed the world's most famous formula, which describes the relationship between mass and energy, which means E is equal to mc square. So in this mathematical equation, E stands for energy, m for mass, and c for the speed of the light in vacuum, about 3 lakh kilometer per second. When you sit, so this is what Einstein said, when you sit with a nice girl for 2 hours, it seems like 2 minutes. Means you never know how the time passes. When you sit on a hot stove for 2 minutes, it seems like 2 hours. That's relativity. So Einstein jokingly said this. While Einstein was solving the most difficult problems in physics, his private life was unraveling. Unraveling means starting to fail. He was failing in his personal life, in his family life. Albert had wanted to marry Meliwa right after finishing his studies, but his mother was against it. Why she was against it? She thought Meliwa, who was 3 years older than her son, Albert Einstein, was too old for him. She was 3 years older than Albert Einstein. She was also bothered by Meliwa's intelligence. She was also intelligent, and these two would not go together. They are like bookish. She is a book like you, his mother said. Einstein put the wedding off. For a while, they put the wedding off. The pair finally married in January 1903 and had 2 sons. But a few years later, the marriage faltered. Faltered means they became weak. Einstein's married life became weak. Meliwa, meanwhile, was losing her intellectual ambition and becoming an unhappy housewife. She felt depressed and she lost her intellectual ambition. After years of constant fighting, the couple finally divorced in 1919. Einstein married his cousin Elsa the same year. So after getting divorced uh, from Meliwa, Einstein married his cousin Elsa the same year. Einstein's new personal chapter coincided, means occurred at the same time with his rise to world fame. Once he married Elsa, his cousin, he started becoming famous. In 1915, he had published his general theory of relativity, which provided a new interpretation of gravity, new translation interpretation of gravity. An eclipse An eclipse of the sun in 1919 brought proof that it was accurate. Einstein had correctly calculated in advance the extent to which the light from fixed stars would be deflected. Deflected means changed the direction because it hit something. Deflected through the sun's gravitational field. The newspapers proclaimed his work as a scientific revolution, scientific change, scientific revolution. Einstein received the Nobel Prize for Physics in 1921. He was showered with honors and invitations from all over the world and lauded by the press. He was praised, he was glorified by the press, by the media. So this is how he became famous from passing the general theory of relativity by publishing it. So until here, if you have doubt, we will discuss in the class. Thank you.